We're now pleased to present to you a panel discussion with the Quebec government, moderated by Patrice Roy, geologist, Géologie Québec. Joining the panel is Amio Choquette, Director, Principal Investissement Québec, and Tony Brisson, President and CEO of SOCAM, and Jean-Yves Labbé, Directeur Direction de l'Information géologique et de la promotion, ministère de l'Énergie et des Ressources naturelles. I'm sorry, that is a long title. Gentlemen, please join the stage.
I think I'll present here first, yes.
Thank you. Hi, Tony.
Hello.
Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you? Plaisir.
So thank you for joining us for this panel, where you will discover why Quebec is playing a leading role in the battery supply chain due to its geographical location, a solid industrial base, and a safe, stable, and durable access to critical and strategic minerals. So, unfortunately, Jocelyn Douéret, Director at the Société du Plan Nord, and Nathalie Camden, Deputy Minister for Mines at the Ministère de l'Énergie et des Ressources naturelles, could not attend the panel today because of health issues. So we're very sorry for that. So my name is Patrice Roy. I am a professional geologist and expert advisor on critical and strategic minerals at the Ministère de l'Énergie et des Ressources naturelles. So I will play the role today of both moderator and panelist for this lunchtime panel. As you may know, Quebec ranked 6th best mining jurisdiction worldwide in 2022, as assessed by the Fraser Institute that conduct an annual survey on how mineral potential and public policy factors affect exploration investment. Government, policymakers, and communities can have a positive impact by moderating financial, technical, and commercial risk of new mining projects. This is particularly true in the challenging sector of critical and strategic minerals. Thank you for joining us today to hear representatives from Quebec in an engaging roundtable panel discussion about government and stakeholders' initiative to foster the development of the mining sector in Quebec, and more specifically, the critical and strategic mineral sector. As Quebec launched its plan for the critical and strategic mineral, having a common orientation is a huge factor of success to be considered, and that is what we will see first through a short presentation by each of our panelists. So the three panelists have already been presented to you. As I mentioned earlier, Madame Camden could not attend, so I will now invite Tony Brisson to present the first panelist.
Hi, everyone. So I'm glad to present you today Patrice Roy. Patrice began his career at the Ministère de l'Énergie et des Ressources naturelles in 2001, where he was promoted to Director of the Bureau de la Connaissance Géoscientifique in 2011, a position he held until 2018. Now he acts as an expert advisor on geology and critical minerals. In his capacity, he advised ministerial authorities in planning government strategies, programs, and guidelines for the development of the mining sector. In particular, he was senior editor of the Quebec Plan for the Development of Critical and Strategic Minerals, launched in fall 2020, and coordinated its implementation. Since May 2021, he is also a director of CIDEX Limited Partnership, an institutional fund that mainly invests in the share capital of exploration companies. He obtained his bachelor degree in geology in 1996 and a master's degree in earth science in 2000, both from Université Laval. Patrice?
Thank you, Tony. En mon nom et celui de Mme Nathalie Camden, sous-ministre associée aux Mines, merci pour l'invitation à prendre part à ce panel. It's my pleasure to have the opportunity to make you discover who we are and to show you the best we have to offer. As you may already know, companies can count on numerous advantages that makes Quebec one of the most attractive minerals jurisdictions in the world. Let me focus on some of them. What you have here is a quick overview of Quebec mining sector. We have the most diversified mineral resources in Canada. Quebec is lucky enough to have a vast territory with 22 active mines and 34 mining projects that have reached the development stage. We are also conducting geoscientific work each year to feed our database, who's available free of charge on the internet, one of the best in the world. Quebec is one of the few jurisdictions in the world that could provide all the minerals and raw materials needed for battery manufacturing, namely lithium, nickel, cobalt, copper, graphite, and manganese. We also have several aluminum smelters. Doesn't seem to be working. OK. Bon, ça a pris du temps. Sorry for that. Also, we offer a business environment that is stable and favorable to investments with tax benefit and a range of financial incentives tailored to mineral exploration. Quebec assists companies at all stages in the development of their mining projects in order to reduce delay and share the risks. In addition, we recently introduced a new coordination office to reduce the time required for government departments to issue rights and permits, which has been highly appreciated by companies. We have also implemented a customized approach with companies to secure and accelerate projects. This is done at the regional level where most of the authorization and permits are issued. We can rely on a vast network of infrastructures with roads, ports, railways, and airports. We offer a complete mining ecosystem with skilled labor workforce, as well as applied research centers and several support measures for research and development. Our legal framework is known for its high environmental standards and high labor standards. Because in Quebec, we consider ourselves as a durable, responsible, and ethical partner. Although our ESG report is quite good, let me focus on green energy and social acceptability for a minute. So, for energy, we have green energy with stable prices. 99.8% of it comes from renewable sources, being the fourth hydropower producer in the world. Communication and transparency are paramount for developing mining projects in Quebec. They are essential to ensure that projects are better welcomed by their host communities and benefit the most of these communities. Our development of land use and mining project is based on responsible development and social acceptability principles. We have well-defined public consultation processes. We have tools to foster best practices and promote mining development. Our mining industry is very proactive in adhering voluntarily to certification, private processes, and standards that takes into account local and Aboriginal communities into their environment. Also, 56 Indigenous communities are present in Quebec. We have concluded modern treaties and agreements covering close to 1 million square kilometers or a little over 400,000 square miles. These treaties are setting up rules for the development of natural resources, which gives great predictability to proponents in the northern part of the province. We truly believe that mining activities are compatible with the pursuit of traditional activities of Native people, and we have the proof. There are many impact and benefit agreements signed between Aboriginal Indigenous communities and mining companies covering different topics like jobs, training, contracts, and even environmental monitoring. Indigenous communities are sometimes partners in mining projects, and they see them as opportunities for their people. A quick look at our producing mines. Many major world players are already involved in Quebec, such as Rio Tinto, Glencore, ArcelorMittal, Newmont, Agnico Eagle, and more recently, Allkem and BHP Billiton. In October 2020, we launched a critical mineral action plan, the first in Canada. The plan sets our priorities and covers all aspects from exploration to recycling. Believe me, it has sparked great interest internationally at all levels, whether it's commercial, strategic, with promoters and investors, or with government officials. Simply said, everyone wants to secure and diversify its supply and reduce their over-reliance on a small number of countries. With this plan, our goal is to become one of the most reliable, ethical, and sustainable source of critical and strategic mineral in the world and be recognized internationally as a strategic partner in the production, processing, and recycling of these CSMs. Of the 22 actions proposed in our plan, basically, we have the acquisition of geoscientific knowledge focused on the CSMs, financing for R&D and innovation initiative. We have a concern related to accessing the resource and developing transportation, energy, and telecommunication infrastructures. The circular economy and the recycling of critical minerals are also key components of our plan. As you know, to be able to face the increasing demand for CSM, virgin sources and new mines won't be enough to meet that exponential demand. Worldwide, less than 9% of all resources extracted are put back into circulation. Consequently, the potential for recycling and reusing is huge. And we felt that we, collectively, have the responsibility to address this challenge. As you can see on this slide, and as you know for sure, the world demand for CSM is growing nonstop. Different tendencies and trends accelerate this demand. The digital one, the decarbonation of our economies, and the electrification of the transport sector with its millions of electric vehicles. The pie is growing. Clearly, the critical mineral industry is booming, and there are many business opportunities available in Quebec. Here again is a map of our vast territory, but this time showing our numerous critical and strategic mineral deposits, projects, and mines. As you can see, we have lithium, nickel, cobalt, and graphite projects. In fact, we have the largest lithium reserve in Canada and nearly half of the lithium projects in the country, and we also have rare earth deposits. We also have a number of graphite projects, including an active mine, the construction of the largest graphite mine in the Western world, which plans to be 100% electric. Because we have this extraordinary diversified mineral potential, we want to ensure its development. As a subnational government responsible for managing its own natural resources, we have introduced different industrial and governmental policies that are aligned and complementary to our plan. And this is, of course, the case for the Quebec's battery strategy. And recently, big announcements were made last March by the German company BASF and by GM and the South Korean company POSCO to build cathode active material plants in the Bécancour area, not far from Montreal. We are talking here of major investments. In conclusion, these are a few highlights to keep in mind. Only 6% of our vast territory is claimed. So it means there are still so many possibilities. We have the potential to develop 15 of the 30 critical minerals of the European list and 38 of the 50 on the American updated list. We have a stable business environment, and being small, we are able to work closely and rapidly with promoters and other stakeholders. As it's been told in the opening speech early this morning, all this leads me to one conclusion. We have a plan with priorities, we have the resources needed, the political will, and we have the tools to position ourselves as a leader in the development of critical minerals. We are ready for business. Thank you. So, for our next panelist now. As I mentioned earlier, supporting a promoter at the early stage of a mining project development is key to de-risk such projects and help a promoter to go faster. The second panelist, Tony Brisson, also a professional geoscientist, joined SOCAM in January 2021 as President and Chief Executive Officer. With a bachelor's degree in geology from the University du Québec à Chicoutimi, Mr. Brisson has held several senior positions with exploration and mining companies in Quebec and North Africa. A member of the Order of Geologists of Quebec, Mr. Brisson has more than 25 years of experience in precious and base metal exploration, mine development, and mining operations. He has worked for several public companies, notably Goldcorp, IAMGold, Breakwater Resources, Cambiar, Focus Graphite, and Cogitar Resources. Prior to joining SOCAM, he was an exploration consultant for junior and major mining companies in Quebec and Ontario since 2015. Mr. Brisson has served on the board of directors for several junior exploration companies. He has been a member of the board of directors of the Quebec Mineral Exploration Association since 2020, where he also served from 2008 to 2012. Mr. Brisson, please explain who is SOCAM and how SOCAM is working to develop projects and eventually partner with junior mining companies.
Thank you, Patrice. Once again, good day, everyone. So it's a real pleasure for me today to take a moment to talk to you about SOQUEM and its role in Quebec's mining ecosystem, and as well as our participation in the Quebec plan for the development of critical and strategic minerals. So can you put the presentation, please? Sorry.
It's the wrong one. It's not the right, there's no more slide.
Apparently, there is some technical problem with my PowerPoint presentation.
There's no
I apologize for this.
Oh, okay.
Here it is. So, starting with the mission and the vision, SOQUEM's mission is to explore, discover, and develop the mineral resources of Quebec. And our vision, recently developed, is to develop a high-quality exploration portfolio to make a major discovery within the next 5 years. We are dedicated to promoting the exploration, discovery, and development of mining properties in Quebec. We also contribute to maintain strong local economies. SOQUEM is a proud partner and ambassador for the development of Quebec's mineral wealth. We rely on innovation, research, and strategic minerals to be well positioned for the future. About the structure, well, first of all, SOQUEM is a French acronym for Société Québécoise d'Exploration Minière, created in 1965 by the Quebec government, so 57 years ago. For decades, SOQUEM has been a catalyst for exploration and development of mining projects. As you can see on the diagram, we are an Investissement Québec subsidiary, which is the development arm of the Quebec government. So we are fully funded by Investissement Québec. And considering this financial structure, SOQUEM is less sensitive to market and metal prices fluctuation, creating a sustainable exploration process. SOQUEM activities covers all aspects of exploration, from project generation, grassroots, drilling, resource estimate to pre-economic assessment. Our head office is located in Val-d'Or, right in the heart of the mining community, and we also have a field office in Chibougamau. Actually, SOQUEM includes 22 employees. 12 of us are geologists. So to summarize, SOQUEM is a mineral exploration company. We're not an investment fund. We currently hold and manage 55 exploration projects spread across the entire province of Quebec from north to south. Our portfolio includes many commodities and minerals, including critical and strategic minerals, but also gold, copper, zinc projects as well. Many of our projects are held and worked in partnership with public exploration companies, and I will speak about it a little later. Regarding the business model, so SOQUEM, if you look at the diagram, which represents the simplified mining cycle, SOQUEM acts essentially at the exploration phase, which generally have a duration of between 5 to 15 years, starting from, as mentioned, project generation, field work, drilling, developing partnership, resource estimate, and PEA. The next phase, that's it, construction and mining, can be certainly be supported by Investissement Québec, and Amio will develop a little bit further after my presentation. We have a recent strategic plan oriented on these 5 years guidelines, which say 4 important pillars for SOQUEM. So the first one is maintain activities aligned with our strategic plan and coordinate our objective with the mission of our main shareholders, Investissement Québec. So developing the economy and make discovery. Develop win-win partnership to expand the scope of our activities and performance, but also helping others company to to have the capacity to make exploration in Quebec. Focus on the development of our team and innovative technologies such as big data, artificial intelligence, etc. And strengthen our leadership within the mineral exploration ecosystem while building strong and lasting relationships with communities. Regarding this, last January, SOQUEM received the Ecologo UL 2723 certification for mineral exploration, according to the principle of sustainable development. We were the 5th exploration company who received this certification, which is a big step for us regarding all the ESG aspect. More than this, we also dedicated to implementing the best practice with respect to health and safety for our people, the communities, so we want to be a real example. A little bit of history. Since its foundation in 1965, so 57 years ago, SOQUEM made multiple discoveries. 7 SOQUEM discoveries eventually became mines. You have the list on the diapo. As you can see, multiple commodities from diamond, zinc, gold, salt, copper, niobium, and nickel mines. 3 of them are still in activity out of the 22 currently active operation in Quebec, so namely the Renard Diamond Mine, the Selen Salt Mine, and the Neobec Niobium Mine. Also, we have 2 of our projects that are advanced development stage, which is the Kouidjibo rare earth project north of Sept-Îles and the Mont Blanc lithium project located north of Chibougamau in development with Sayona Mining. A quick overview of our portfolio. So we just split in 3 types of projects. So the advanced stage project, as you can see on the map, the red star represents the base metal project, so essentially copper, zinc, VMS type deposit. The green star represents the CSM, so critical and strategic minerals deposit, so vanadium, rare earth, lithium, etc. And the yellow stars represent the gold projects. So as you can see, we have 7 advanced projects developed actually in James Bay and Abitibi area, and 1 project, Kouidjibo project, located north of Sept-Îles, also in advanced stage development. Most of them are developed with partners, and there's quite a bit of advancement in some of them that will probably have a good chance to become mine in the near future. About half of our portfolio is at the drilling stage. So as you can see, most of these projects are base metal projects, but also gold projects. Many of them are available for joint venture or literally for buying from another company. So as you can see, we're mostly concentrated in James Bay, Abitibi area, but we also have a project in Nunavik and Gaspésie, as well as south of Quebec. So we are really spread across the entire province. And finally, and most important, I think, the future, the grassroots stage project. Many of them have been generated by SOQUEM people or developed via partnerships. But for the recent years, we put the emphasis particularly in CSM type projects, so developing nickel, copper, cobalt project generation, as well as vanadium project. But and for the balance, it's essentially, once again, a base metal and gold project. Recently, we developed a new partnership in the Labrador with Midland Exploration, right next to strategic alliance between Midland and BHP at the east of our project. Speaking about partnership, it's always been in SOQUEM's DNA to develop project via partnership because of our structure. It's easy to operate exploration project with partners to share the expenses, the risk, the expertise, developing win-win scenario. There is two ways to develop partnership for SOQUEM. So we may acquire an interest in a project owned by a company or an individual, or we can sell an interest in one of our projects to a company or individual. In both cases, SOQUEM can work at every phase of the development of an exploration project. So to conclude, SOQUEM is definitely well positioned in a mining ecosystem. We often act as a springboard and a generator of projects in multiple commodities. We can buy, we can sell, we can participate in joint venture, and we are open for business. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tony. We've seen SOQUEM. It's a subsidiary of Investissement Québec. So once a junior mining company reaches the step of the preliminary economic assessment, we will hear from Amio Choquette how Ressources Québec can support mining projects for further development. Our third and last panelist is a Senior Director Investment at Ressources Québec since 2012, a division of Investissement Québec that invests and finances projects in the mining, forestry, and energy sectors. Mr. Choquette is a director on the board of 3 companies. Prior to occupying these functions, Mr. Choquette has held a number of functions at the Société Générale de Financement du Québec in the mining and forestry sectors. Mr. Choquette has also worked at the Fonds Régional de Solidarité, FTQ, a labor-sponsored fund, and at Raymond Chabot Grant Thornton, a CPA firm. Mr. Choquette earned his business degree from Université Laval in 1991 and is a chartered professional accountant since 1993. Mr. Choquette, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Patrice, for the introduction. Thank you for the organizers for arranging this conference and especially having it in my hometown. So, good day, everyone. As Patrice mentioned, Ressources Québec is a division of Investissement Québec. So before I tell you how Investissement Québec can support the mining industry, I'd like to brief you a little bit on what we do. So Investissement Québec is a state-owned government agency which has close to 1,000 employees, 30 offices in Quebec and 12 offices abroad. Our mission is to actively participate in the Quebec's economic development, stimulate innovation and growth of local and international investment, and support business creation and development. To fulfill, I guess, one of our mandates is to be a one-stop shop for foreign investments. We have IQ International, that's our division, which there's one representative here, Melanie, my colleague. Their role is to attract foreign direct investments in Quebec, and through this, they can support you with strategic information, comparative analysis, site selections, etc. As well, we act as the financial arm of the government of Quebec. We have close to $12 billion of assets under management, and in the mining sector, close to $1.6 billion. But to support companies in Quebec, we have venture capital, tax credits. We can support with development capital, loans, loan guarantees, etc. As Patrice mentioned, the Quebec government has launched a plan for the development of critical and strategic minerals. As you can see on that map, there's a number of projects in abundance in the province of Quebec. And Investissement Québec, through Ressources Québec, has the role of supporting the promoters through financial contributions to develop these projects. How we can support them, we can support these projects. Like I said earlier, we have $1.6 billion under management. We can support them at the exploration level through SOCAM, and we can support them once a PEA has been issued on a project through equity and debt financing. So SOCAM, as I mentioned, covers the exploration side of the project. We manage the Natural Resources and Energy Fund. That's a $1 billion fund available for equity participations from $1 million up to $100 million and plus within projects of over $5 million. When we invest, we always take minority participations. From the feasibility study, Ressources Québec, with its own funds, we can invest up to from $10 million up to $150 million in debt financing or other financial instruments, mostly when for construction, I would say, from at least a feasibility study and so on. Whoops. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So our investment criteria, of course, we need social acceptability. We want partnerships. We don't want to be alone. We're minority shareholders, as I mentioned, but especially in the critical and strategic minerals, we want strategic partners involved with us. In Quebec, we're experts in gold mining. We're experts in iron ore, but in critical and strategic minerals, it's more complicated, so we need strategic partners to invest along us. Of course, one of the criteria is profitability, strong management team, realistic and mobilizing business plan, and economic benefits for the province of Quebec. Over the past 3 years, we've invested on average about $200 million per year. Our contributions were in 10 of the 22 mines in operations and 10 mining projects in development out of 33 or 34. Not sure which number is good, but at least it gives you an idea which. In the critical and strategic minerals portfolio, we have investments in the lithium space, graphite space, nickel, cobalt, rare earths, and vanadium. Of course, we don't focus only on critical and strategic minerals. Throughout the years, we've invested in the gold sector, iron ore sector, diamonds as well. As Tony mentioned, the Stornoway Diamond Renard mine was a discovery, joint discovery between SOCAM and Ashton Mining at that time. So we invested in this project to bring into operations in 2014. Of course, you know mining, there's a volatility, so in the diamond sector as well. So we had to restructure in 2019, but since then it became a private company, and we're still supporting it, and we're collecting the dividends today with our partners, CDPQ, Triple Flag, and Osisko, Gold Royalties. So that concludes my presentation. I guess we're ready for questions and the panel part of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Amio. You can come and sit with us for the question. We have just seen the main principles of a coordinated action from different government bodies and partners in Quebec. As I mentioned earlier, Quebec has a huge potential for critical and strategic mineral projects development. So now let's see how that coordinate action of the government bodies could be operational in a specific case of a CSM project and how it fits into the battery supply chain. I have a first question for Mr. Brisson. In such cases, how SOCAM could have helped to reduce the financial risk of the junior mining company at the exploration level? Do you have some examples? And does SOCEM has a particular way of or strategy regarding these projects?
So it's essentially two questions. So I took some notes. So there's definitely many advantages and synergy possible to lower the risk with SOCEM. Yes, financial de-risking is a major point, considering SOCEM access for recurrent financing from our main shareholder, Investissement Québec, which is independent of market fluctuations, but also we have the capacity to execute all phases of the development of exploration work in the field. If we use an example, let's say for a new company who want to invest in Quebec mineral potentials, like I explained earlier during my presentation, we can sell an interest in one specific CSM project or create a new joint venture where both partners, SOCEM and the new co, will invest capital to share the risk. So at this point, SOCEM can bring expertise and knowledge regarding the territories, the communities, the legislation, the reputation, and the permitting. We also have a strong network-based contractors and service providers as well, because we are here since 1965, so 57 years of background of exploration. We have a strong team of geologists who can support any type of exploration work. So finally, to reduce financial risk, facilitation of permitting, upstream communication with communities, land and mining title management, land access, contractors network, target generation, field work, data management, and reporting. That's how SOCEM can help. So that's for the first phase, first question. For the strategy, for partners to develop new partnership, we generally use 5 criteria to evaluate potential partner and potential leverage for our shareholder, Quebec government, and SOCEM as well. The 5 criteria are following. So first, the team, the management, the board of directors, the track record of these people, and the technical capacity to do exploration work. Second, the capacity to finance the project on a middle to long-term basis. Third, the ESG respect. Is there any bad history behind a company want to invest? For the reputational risk, which is very important in those days because communication is very fast and it doesn't take a lot to destroy something. And finally, the society structure, let's say the shareholders, the capitalization, etc. So that's the answer of your second question.
Thank you, Tony. It's my turn to give you an example of how the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, through the CSM plan, can reduce the technical risk of CSM projects. We have actually three measures to support exploration through the CSM plan. The first one is to reduce the risk of mineral exploration by carrying out regional geoscientific surveys and assessing the mineral potential, particularly for the critical and strategic minerals. And all this information is available on our website free of charge, so you can just upload that information and use it however you want. The second one is a mineral exploration support program. The assistance offered is dedicated to geometallurgical work in order to detail the characteristic of mineralization and thus to assess not only the quantity but the quality of the ore in order to help projects complete their PEA. And finally, the third measure is an allowance for critical and strategic mineral development. Eligible operators can deduct the allowance for the development of critical and strategic mineral in calculating their annual profit for a fiscal year, and that aid can go up to 5 million, if I'm not mistaken. And I would like also to mention that we have the Bureau de Coordination des Droits, which you can contact to help you manage all the permitting and rights, actually to obtain your permits, and they will help you with that. So, these are the basic measures that we have to help you through the development of your projects. So now my question to Mr. Choquette. How does Resource Quebec approach such projects, and how is it connected to the Quebec battery strategy?
Thank you, Patrice. So I think I've showed the map earlier that the critical and strategic minerals. There's a number of projects in Quebec that the government wants us to develop. But before they launched that program, they launched, well, as you know, we already knew we had the minerals for the battery raw materials. And so the government wanted to build a value chain in the battery materials sector. So in 2019, they launched a battery strategy. It was a partnership between the Ministry of Economy, Hydro-Québec, which owns a lot of intellectual property in the battery field, and Investissement Québec. So we wanted to develop our mines and then develop the value chain downstream. So at that point, we got assistance from an investment bank to I guess, map the market of the industrial players in the battery materials field. And we started with IQ International. We started this initiative where we would get into contact with them and sell them the province of Quebec. So that initiative has has its results. There are two CAM producers that you mentioned earlier that will be building mines in the Bécancour Industrial Park. And there's Nemaska Lithium, our project, which we own 50% with Livent, will build its hydroxide plant in Bécancour, and there's Nouveau Monde Graphite as well that will build its anode materials plant in Bécancour. So we're trying to build a campus, battery campus in Bécancour. There are other projects that have been publicized in the newspapers by the promoters themselves, so there might be a battery cell manufacturer as well that could be installed in Bécancour, and as well maybe a nickel sulfate project. So these discussions are ongoing with IQ, the ministry, and these companies. So we're fairly confident we'll have that battery campus. It's already mostly there. Now, since Bécancour is almost no more land available, we're already thinking about a second battery campus. So hopefully that will be realized over the coming years. So all of this, I guess, to support the value chain, the value chain of the battery materials, the Quebec plan for development of critical and minerals, strategic minerals. Investissement Québec is there to support financially and as well through our IQ International, our division, to help these companies come into Quebec. And I guess that's our contribution, but it's ongoing. And today we're talking about I'm talking about mostly critical and strategic minerals, but we have a number of investments in other minerals, like I said earlier, gold, iron ore, diamonds, etc.
So with all these financial tools, and coordinated actions. And I think it's been mentioned this morning by some presenters. Quebec built a unique business environment favorable to mining projects development with a strong focus for critical and strategic minerals. We have seen through the presentation and the discussion with our panelists that Quebec, with its diversified mineral resources and its hydro-powered industrial network, set up a governmental strategy strong and coherent to foster the development of a supply chain from the mine to the EV batteries. Furthermore, this strategy is supported by a more than $1 billion institutional fund that will reduce the risk for private sectors. No secret told, but good practices of collaboration between our organization is the key. When are you coming to be part of that extraordinary window of opportunity with us? So we are now opening the floor for questions, if you have any. Oh, do we have time?
You have one question over there.
Thank you so much. It was a very interesting session, and I've learned a lot about all the different aspects of how Quebec helps mining companies, so thank you for that. My question is, you gave the presentation all in English, which was wonderful. I think there's a lot of Anglophones, only solo Anglophones in the room. Do those services that you mentioned, Patrice, from MERN, are they available to find out more about in English as well, or is it only available in French to apply for some of those programs?
I could tell you some of them are available in English, but maybe not all of them, but we're working on it to make them available in English, but you can contact us and we can help you to navigate through the programs.
Great, thank you.
Any other question? It's okay. Good.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. That was a great panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.